Why so lifelike if not real? Hey there, Cinephiles. Today, I'm reviewing The Legend of Ochi. This is the latest A24 movie, and it follows a girl bringing a baby Ochi back to their family. It's an unlikely friendship between a kid and a creature that they're not supposed to befriend. Feel like we've seen this before in E.T., How to Train Your Dragon, Gremlins, etc., etc., etc. But hey, this is cute. I think I'm going to sound more negative on this movie than most people, but I do still think this is a good movie. It's just not as great as I wanted it to be. But with that being said, let me get into the positives first, and that's the visuals all around. The cinematography is so nice. It's this interesting blend of classic filmmaking with the movies I mentioned earlier, as well as just like this kind of high fantasy, but it's in a world that I think is in the 90s, on an island that's fully in its own time period. It's very interesting looking all around, and I think the stills of this film are going to lead you to believe how wonderful the cinematography is alone. It's almost like one of those beautiful concept art books that you never really fully see realized in film, but this was one of the few films that actually got realized as the concept art. At least that's what it feels like. I don't know if that's true. However, by far the best part about this movie is definitely the puppetry. Oh my goodness, these creatures, the Ochi, are so beautiful and lifelike, and just they have such an energy to them. You could feel it coming through the screen, and it just makes me so annoyed and upset that these aren't real. I not only love the puppetry that brings them to life in this film, but the design of them is also amazing. And just the biggest thing is I wish they were actually real in our lives, because the design of them, the look of them, the texture to them as characters, as their own beings, they look awesome. I know so many people are going to absolutely fall in love with the look, especially of the baby Ochi that we're following for the majority of the movie. And hey, A24 already knew what they were doing, because they're already pre-selling some of these creatures as like keychains. As for other positives, the score is pretty good, and of course, Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe is Willem Dafoe, and he will never ever disappoint in a movie for as long as he's alive. And shout out to that one fit that he wears. Trust me, it's pretty awesome. And in general too, the other visuals and the craftsmanship behind this film, you can just feel love being poured into everything that you see on the screen. From the costumes to, again, the cinematography and especially the puppetry, just everything on a technical level is pretty dang great about this movie. I just have a couple major gripes with this movie that keep me from really loving it or even truly liking it to such a great degree. And that starts with the editing. The editing of this movie and just the way it decides to sequence shots. It's a little disorienting and it's a little murky and just out of whack for me. It just feels like a greener filmmaker is behind this. It's just not the best pacing and just placement of shots and sequences, and it can drag because of that. This movie's only like an hour 35 and it feels much longer to me. And again, that's because of the editing, and it's messing with the pacing and it's messing with the flow of the movie. And that opening sequence should be amazing, but to me, it was just so distracting when they decided to go to certain shots and just pull back and then go back in, and it feels a little weird to me. It's really unfortunate that something about it was just so off-putting. Also with the story itself, of course you've seen this done a million times before, and it's been done way better before too, because it is very light on the story and especially the characters here. I know we're supposed to love the Ochi, but they were really the only characters outside of Willem Dafoe that I truly loved and gravitated towards. And to be completely honest with you here, Phil Wolfhard did not need to be in this movie. Not even him as an actor. Like genuinely, that character just had nothing to do here. And for a movie that is about family, I just feel like the overall family dynamic should have been a lot stronger within the human family and not just within the Ochis. This is just a really weird movie for me because it is disappointing, yet it also exceeded my expectations in certain regards. And with all that being said, it is a mixed bag that I do lean more positive on, and I do love a lot of the ideas that are brought to the table here. It's just the execution is a bit amiss for me. I give The Legend of Ochi a 3 out of 5 stars. Look, it's not a bad movie by any stretch of the means, but there are some things in here that I just can't quite get over. But I know it won't bother a lot of other people, so I do still suggest this movie, especially if you're into, the films that I mentioned before. So this is definitely worth watching, especially on the big screen. It's beautiful to look at the very least. But alright, those are my thoughts on The Legend of Ochi. Be sure to let me know what you think of it down in the comments below. As always, thank you guys for liking, commenting, and subscribing. Be sure to stay tuned for more Yeti Films content, and I'll catch you later.